this is a tutorial for the Bloom and Rose bag, which is by Meave Bags. It's obviously it's a circular bag, which you can tell, but it's made with no binding, so it's a turned through bag. It's a lovely pattern. There's lots of different options for the front panels. You can do a stitched rose. I've done an embroidery version of mine that you can see. There's also a patchwork version, a reverse applique version. There's loads of different versions. So this is my sew along. We'll go with sew along rather than tutorial. We did have a little hiccup in that I put the pocket on upside down. Even though I sat and thought about how the pocket was going on, I still got it the wrong way around. So yeah, so when you get to that part, when I'm putting the pocket on, when I'm putting the back panel on, do the opposite way to how I've done it. But it just goes to show, I've actually made this because I've actually tried to film this tutorial now about 4 or 5 times, and I've never been happy with it. And even though I'm not happy with it this time because I've mucked up and I've got the back panel on wrong, I'm still going to put it out. I'm not going to film it again, because we all make mistakes. And I've sewn this bag so many times. I have another version here that I've done, that I did with a Highland cow. There's another version that's about to be gifted to a friend of mine. So yeah, so I've done about 5 versions, and yeah, and I've still got this one on upside down, but that's life. But yeah, but I just loved this applique. It doesn't take much hardware. It's really quick to cut out. It's actually really quick to sew up. The pattern is really easy to follow. So yeah, so I hope you like my sew along to this pattern. I will put all of the details to buy the pattern and any of our other patterns that she has out on the description. The vinyl, I think, was possibly either BST Fabrics, which is online, or Emmanuel Fabrics, I can't remember. The water resistant fabric that I used did actually come from Meave Bags Patterns as well. She did actually send that to me. So I actually did use that in the bag, and it was lovely to work with. So I will link her website in the description, and I'm sure she has a Facebook page. So any of her social media I will actually link in the description box down below. So I hope you really enjoy the sew along. Any questions, feel free to comment in the comments box, or drop me a message on any of my social media or through my website. And yeah, enjoy. Let's get started. Okay, so let's go through the pattern pieces. Hopefully they'll show up. With them being black, they might be a little bit difficult to see, but I'll talk you through each pattern piece and how I have prepped it. So I'll start off with my straps. This is my exterior strap, which is 3 inches wide, but this is just by the length of my fabric. So you can cut it to 53 inches. I think my fabric was something like 56 inches. So I just cut mine to the width of my fabric. And then I have, not really sure if you can see that, but I have a mark along the middle of the strap to help me fold it. So that is my strap. This is my lower strap, which is 1.5 by 20, and again I have a mark along the middle. I then have my front panel pieces. Now I have an extra piece and I'll explain why. So I actually have my Bloomin' Rose embroidered on because I've been playing with my embroidery machine. So this is going to be my Bloomin' Rose. So I have a front piece and a back piece, and you will see that these are stabilised with Decaville. And what I've done is I have put my Decaville on after it has been embroidered, and it has been put on out of the seam allowances. So that is the front and back piece, and then exactly the same again in the lining. So I have the extra piece, which is to show you how to put this piece on here. So I'm going to do this to show you how to do it, but then my bag will actually have this on it. Now I'm using vinyl, so I haven't interfaced. All I've done is stabilise. But if you were using a cotton for your outer, or anything that was not as structured and you wanted to give it a little bit more structure, what you would do is you would interface your fabric and then put your Decaville on. My lining pieces are like a water resistant canvas, so again they aren't massively thick, but they don't really need interfacing. I'm quite happy with the thickness and the structure of these, so I'm not interfacing them. If you were using a cotton, you would interface with a light to medium weight woven interfacing. So that's those two pieces, and then this is the extra piece just to show you. This vinyl is actually from the Meave Bags website. Eva actually kindly sent me some to test out. It's really soft. It sews like butter on both the domestic machine and on the industrial. It's really lovely. And this water resistant canvas, she actually kindly sent me an amount as well to test, so I actually thought I'd use it on this bag. And it's really nice. It's a lovely quality. So that's where these are from. This black vinyl, if I remember rightly, it's either from BST Fabrics or Emmanuel's. I can't remember, but it's one of the two. Yeah, so moving on to my next pieces. These are the back pocket pieces. These are cut out of the lining fabric. You could cut one out of an exterior fabric, one out of a lining fabric if you wanted to keep them the same as the exterior. I wanted to make mine pop a little bit. I am still undecided yet as to whether I'm going to stabilise one of the pieces. I think I might, but we shall see. But yeah, that is the the back pocket, which will have a magnetic snap on it. This is the gusset pieces. So I have one in an exterior fabric and I have one in the lining fabric. The exterior fabric, again, it's in vinyl. I haven't interfaced it, but it has been stabilised, and the Decaville is kept out of the seam allowances. What I do when I cut the pieces out of the Decaville, and in this pattern you actually get the pattern pieces to show you the sizes that you need to cut out of the Decaville. What I will do is I will draw the seam allowances on and line it up and then interface it, and it does make it a lot easier. And then these are my zipper panels. So I have two in the exterior, and again these have been stabilised with Decaville, and I have two in my lining pieces, and you can see that all of my lining pieces are the water resistant canvas. So I have my number 5 zipper tape. I can't remember off the top of my head the size of the zipper tape. Let's see if I can find it in the instructions. But mine is actually just an offcut. So, which I knew would be long enough. Can't find the measurements now, but mine's about 18 inches. I think off the top of my head it's around about 15, 16, but I know mine is extra because I like to keep my zipper my zipper pulls out of where I'm working, so it needs to basically be as long as this piece, so I can keep my zipper pulls into this piece, so I don't have to move them or sew around them. I can keep them here and I can just sew them. You can put your zipper pulls on once you finish doing it, but I like to put the zipper pulls on before I start, because numerous times I have completed a bag and then realised I haven't put the zipper pulls on. So yeah, I do put my zipper pulls on at the very start because I've learnt my lesson. So speaking of hardware, those are my 2 zipper pulls, and because we are doing the Bloomin' Rose bag, we have to have rose zipper pulls. I have 2 3/4 inch zipper pull D-rings, 2 lobster clasps. I have my magnetic snap for the back pocket, and I also have a 3/4 inch slider. So they are that's all of my hardware and all of my pattern pieces. It's actually a really quick bag to cut out. It's actually a quick bag to sew as well. So yeah, it doesn't take long to cut out and prepare, especially if you're using something like vinyl where you don't have to interface it. All you've got to do is put Decavil on, and then if you're using a fabric like this where you don't have to interface the lining fabric, it becomes a very, I think I literally cut this bag out in around about half an hour, 40 minutes maybe is maximum. So yeah, it's a very quick bag to prepare and a very fun bag to make. So we can get started. So we'll make a start on this front panel, which is option 1 of the template. There is lots of different options within the pattern. So there's an option for reverse applique, there's options for a patchwork front panel, there's this option. So, and then obviously because it's quite a big sort of area, you can really make it your own. So, which obviously I have done by doing the embroidery. So with this front panel, you can do it in a number of ways. You can either attach this with some temporary basting spray and stitch through the paper, or you could draw on with a heat erasable marker, turn it over and press and transfer that ink onto the front, and then follow the line around. What I choose to do, and I've done it a few times, and this is what I find works best for me, is because I do actually like to go rogue quite a bit, is what I've done is I've placed mine on, I've marked a start point and I've marked an end point, and I'm just kind of going to make my own wiggly wobbly pattern on the machine as I go. So I've got my machine all set up. I am sewing on a Jack H2, which is a walking foot machine. I have wound a new bobbin, so the bobbin in here is fresh. I have a brand new 18 needle in. I'm using Tex 45 thread from Little Stitches Sews. I can never ever say that. And yeah, I think we're all good to go. I've turned my stitching back down again from winding my bobbin up because I often forget to do that, so I've made sure I do that. You'll see that I don't actually sew at a very high speed. I'm not a particularly fast sewer. I think it's worth taking your time and getting things right as opposed to racing through to get it done. And I've in the past been the world's worst for wanting to get a project done and wanting to get it finished and then rushing to get it done and then mucking up, usually at the very last or second to last point. And so yeah, so I do actually try to take my time a little bit more now and just enjoy the process. And yeah, so like I say, I don't actually sew particularly fast, so I'm leaving quite long tails, and I'm going to drop my needle into the mark that I've made, and I'm going to make it at the outer point and work my way in. If you want to start in the middle and work your way out, that's fine, whatever works best for you. I'm going to set my stitch at about a 4.5, 5, and I'm just going to work my way round, and I'm just going to flick over so that you can get a little bit of a better view. So just kind of take your time and enjoy it and make it as sort of out there as you want to, or as sort of gentle as you want to. You can make it however you like. So I'm not going to backstitch or anything. I'm just going to lift my needle and I'm going to pull it out, leaving long threads, and then I'm going to pull these threads to the back and tie off. So I've done this pre-stabilising. This vinyl is actually really quite soft, so I probably would have been better off doing it stabilising and then stitching it. But if your vinyl's a little bit thicker, you can stitch it and then put your stabiliser over the back, and it will really help to secure those stitches as well. So by pulling the threads through to the back and tying them off, you don't have any back stitches on the front. You're not tying you're not cutting your threads on the front, and it just makes it nice and neat. I need a new pair of scissors, these were a little bit blunt. So that's then my, like you see, like you can see, it's a little bit bumpy because, like I say, I should have probably stabilised this before I did this pattern, with this being so thin. Not thin, sorry, so sort of soft and supple. So if you are using a very soft and supple vinyl, do stabilise it first and then do your pattern. So I'm going to move on to my crossbody strap. So crossbody strap, this is just a standard crossbody strap that is double fold. So you might struggle to see where I've got my fold. It's not got my fold, got my halfway mark. But I am just going to mark a lot. I'm just going to put double-sided tape all the way along both edges. I know a lot of people struggle with double-sided tape. It sometimes can gunk up the needle. I luckily don't kind of struggle with that. What I do is I do keep glasses wipes next to my sewing machine. A couple of reasons. One, my glasses are always dirty, so I always need to clean my glasses. And two, if I do find that my needle's sticking or I feel that it's got a little bit gunked up, I just use the glasses wipe and just wipe over the needle. So it's quite useful for that. So I've just does not want to stay on my table. So yeah, I have just gone along both edges with the double-sided tape, and while I've got the double-sided tape out, I'm just going to do the lower strap. They're both alive today. And I just push them down to flatten them. So I always work from the top down and then turn around and work from the top down again. And the reason that I do this is so that I can see what I'm doing, so I can see where I'm folding to. If I work the other way, I can't see as well. Now that just might be me, how I work, but that's what I find works best for me. So what you want to do, where your line is you want to fold your edge to just before that line. You want the tiniest, like it's not even a millimetre, you just want the tiniest sliver of gap, so that when you fold, when both of these edges are folded in, you have a very, very small gap. They aren't quite touching, and it means that when you fold it again, it's not crumpled on the inside, and you get a smooth fold. So I'm going to start and do that. I'm going to remove the backing from this tape. And I just really push down as I go along, so that it does really stick down in the digger. and then I go around the other side. I'm really struggling with my nails because they need doing and they're too long for me and I can't do anything with them at the minute. So I can't grab hold of anything. I'm going to get it from this side. There we go. But they're doing very, very well because that's 3.5 weeks because they were done for the wedding and they haven't budged at all. So tell me you have a fantastic nail person without telling me you have a fantastic nail person, because they have done mint, but I definitely need to get them done again because I am very, very much struggling to pick anything up or do anything. They're really long for me. It's stuck to my hardware box. So yeah, so all the way along here I've just got the tiniest little gap. And you can use a roller to help flatten this out and help make it stick. You can at this point as well, if you want, put a line of double-sided tape sort of between the halfway point of this edge and the middle bit here, so that when you fold it over it helps make it stick. Whatever makes sort of things easier for you is absolutely fine. It's fine to do. So I'm just going to turn this over on itself again, matching these edges, and I'm going to pin it. Well, not pin it, sorry, clip it. I always say pin. I think that's just kind of like an old school thing to say, but when I say pin, I mean clip. So that is the crossbody strap ready to sew, and that'll be top stitched down at 1/8 of an inch on either side. The top stitch length of it around about 4.5. I always top stitch at about 4.5. I construct it between 2.5 and 3 depending on the thickness of my fabric, but usually around about 2.5. And then top stitched about 4.5. So I'm just gonna fold in the edges of this bottom strap while I'm on. So I'm just folding this to meet in the middle, and this won't be folded in on itself again, so this can go right in the middle and the edges of this can meet. just going to put a couple of clips in. Oh, that one didn't want to. Just to keep that in place well until I'm ready to work on it. So I'm going to sew this one down, and like I say, in about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to take my time sewing this because I am using quite a contrasting thread, so it will show up if I go off. So like I say, I'm going to take my time and just make sure that I get it looking nice. I always hold my threads before I start stitching because it helps prevent nesting underneath. So that's my crossbody strap all done. So now I just need to add my hardware to it. So I'm going to start by feeding it through the strap adjuster, and I'm still waiting on some smaller rose gold strap ends coming. So for the time being, I can add them on at a later date. So I'm just going to stitch through and attach this strap adjuster. So then I want to have the strap with the wrong side facing up, then want to feed the swivel clasp through, and then through the strap adjuster. And then I'm going to turn it again so that it's wrong side facing up with my other swivel clasp, feed it through and turn the edge over. And again, I'm just going to run 2 lines of stitching through, and then when my strap ends come, I can add them on. So that is my crossbody strap all done and ready to move on to the next step. So we'll need to move on to the lower strap, and I'm going to sew down this with 1/4 of an inch allowance and just top stitch it. So that's done, and we need our outer gusset. And we need to draw a line down the centre. So I'm going to add some double-sided tape along that centre line. And I'm just going to sort of roughly find the centre of the strap. And roughly find the centre of the gusset. And then just making sure that that's in the centre and it's all lined up. And then we need to mark 1.5 inches, yeah, 1.5 inches away from the edge. And then we go round this in sort of sewing a box all the way around at 1/8 of an inch round to these lines, and not going past these 1.5 inch marks that we've made. And I want to tie these threads off. Hopefully. You just use a little bit of duct tape on the back just to kind of keep them in place. So that is the lower strap in place, and then what we need to do is we need to shorten these straps by 2 inches from the sewn line. So I'm just going to make a mark 2 inches from the sewn line, and I'm just going to snip them. And then we need to make marks that are in the centre and that are 1/2 inch away from this sewn line, and then 1 3/4 inches away from that sewn line. So I'm just going to make them a little bit more obvious so I can see them. So again, 1/2 inch away and 1 3/4 inches away. And then when we punch through this mark, we then need to mark it on this, on the gusset, and punch through that side as well. And I'm going to punch through. Oh, it's actually gone through. On this one, it's a new punch, so that's probably why. If it doesn't go through, all you would do is make a mark through that hole, pull it out the way, and then make your hole on this side. So what we now need to do is get the D-rings, and we need to feed them through. And I need to get my rivet press and my rivets. That's the one thing that I forgot to get out, so 2 seconds, bear with me. Okay, I'm back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through the hole, and then feed it through the other hole in the strap, and then feed it through the hole in the gusset. Then put my back on, and I'm just going to line that up. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just going to remove that extra sticky tape so it doesn't get in the way. So through the first hole, put the ring on, through the second hole, and then through the hole in the gusset. And pop the back on. And then I'm just going to straighten the back up so that the back of the strap lies nice and neat. And then press. So that is the strap, the lower strap done, and your strap connectors all connected and finished. So I'm just going to have a little tidy up. There we go, as if by magic, all nice and tidy again. Right, so now we'll move on to the back pocket. I did decide to put some stabiliser on. Reason being, I knew I would have to stabilise where the magnetic snap was going anyway, so I thought I did want a little bit more structure to this back pocket, so I did decide to just add some stabiliser. So all I did was I just took the pattern piece, drew around it, and then just took the seam allowance out of the piece and then cut it out and fused it. So we're just going to sew these together, right sides together, and this is 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Now I'm just going to use my fingers just to press this along, because obviously with it being water resistant canvas you can't really press it, and then just use my fingers just to roll it out. And then I'm just going to top stitch along, changing my stitch length back. Okay, so I'm going to install my magnetic snap. So I've already marked my placement. The placement is set out for you in the pattern. I'm connecting the male portion of the snap to this part. So I'm just marking my placement. I just want to use a little bit of glue. I'm not using much, just a little bit. And that's the connector attached to my pocket piece. And I'm going to baste it to the back piece of my bag. So I'm just going to keep my stitch length on what it is. And I'm just literally basting it on with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to mark where the other part of my snap is going to go. And it might seem a little bit fiddly to do it this way, and I suppose it is slightly, but it's not hugely fiddly. It just means that I get really good snap placement, and it meets up absolutely perfectly. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue as well. There we go. So there we go, so there's the other magnetic snap attached to the back panel. So we'll move on to the zipper panels. So, and I'm going to attach my 2 zipper pulls before I start, because like I say, I do actually have a habit of completing bags and actually not having zipper pulls on the bags, so I don't want that to happen. So I just use this little tea towel holder . and I just want to make sure that when I'm putting them on, that the meat exactly, and that there's no sort of gaping, there's not one side on more than the other. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to move them sort of towards the end so that they're not in the way. So I'm going to start by putting a little bit of double-sided tape on the end. And I'm going to pop the zipper tape on right sides together, so teeth side down, and just line those edges up. Now what you don't want to do when you're putting the zipper tape on is you don't want to like stretch it so that it's straight, because that will cause it to be wavy. You do want it to be taut, you do want it, you know, you don't want it to be sort of loose, but you don't want to stretch it on. So when you're putting it on with the double-sided tape, press it down well, make sure that those edges line up well, and then put your lining on and clip together. If you want to use double-sided tape to put your lining on as well, you can do. I'm just going to use a few clips, and I'm going to sew these together at a quarter of an inch seam allowance. And then I'm just going to finger press these, and then I'm just going to top stitch along. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm just making sure that the sides of my zipper panels line up. Just sew these together like we did before. And then I just move my zippers into the zipper panel and cut off the excess zipper. So we want to move on to assembling the bag. So we want to take the gusset and the zipper panel, and what we need to do is we need to clip the lining out of the way. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'm just going to move the D-ring out of the way, and with right sides together I'm just going to line up the zipper panel and the gusset, and they get sewn together along here, and you get as close to the zipper as you possibly can get. So, and this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. Something has gone terribly wrong with my bobbin there. Okay, so I now come in from this side. And this side is a little bit more difficult, especially for me when I'm using a walking foot. Sorry, I'm getting in the way. Because it'll kind of want to chew up this side here. So I'm going to start a little bit further down there and come in and then go back, and then probably what I'm going to have to do is actually do it from the other side. But because I've already done a little bit, I've got my idea of where I am at. And just try and get as close as I possibly can. So if you can hear noise in the background, there's just Andy and the kids coming back in. So I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to move this D-ring out of the way. I'm still filming. I'm still filming. I'm still filming. It's alright, don't worry about it, I can edit it out. Are you okay? They haven't been fed. Right, so I'm going to go this side and again 1/2 inch seam allowance. And just as close as you can get. Obviously your aim is to not catch in the lining, which I think I kind of did with just one stitch there. And I'm going to do this side from this way and kind of just feel where I need to be. So now we need to do the same but with the lining. So I'm just going to do exactly the same process. So right sides together, and I'm just going to clip them together just to keep them in place. And we can just use a couple of clips as well just to keep this exterior out of the way. So that is the gusset, the exterior gusset and the lining gusset all attached. And what we need to do is we need to top stitch this exterior. But again, we need to keep this lining piece we need to keep it out of the way. So we're going to top stitch on this side, so we're not top stitching through the zip. Change the stitch length. And then again, same thing, so lining out of the way. So that's the gusset exterior and the lining. Which I have managed to catch. It'll be okay because I can still get to this lining piece, so that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to attach our lining pieces. And I've already marked my top and bottom, and then these are our centres here. So I'm going to right sides together, clip together the top, then clip together the bottom, then clip together the side, and then clip together this side. And I'm just pushing my seam allowances to one side. So I've got this one marked, So I'm just going to move that round. So I've got this one marked for where I need to leave it open for turning through. So I've got it marked on there for leaving it open for turning through. So that's obviously at the bottom. So I've just moved that one round there just so that I don't forget to leave it open, because I've done that numerous times before as well. Obviously the way the bag is written, it is written to leave a turning like a turning point open, but you could, if you wanted to, have a pocket piece, like a zipper pocket inside, and turn through a zipper pocket, therefore fully sewing this part closed. That would work well as well. So all you want to be doing is just easing in the fabric. If you find that you've got too much fabric in one place, you just want to distribute it out around the other piece. And just use lots and lots and lots of clips. If you need to, you can snip into the gusset to open the gusset up ever so slightly to make it fit better there. But I've got that fitting fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this at 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to leave open between the two marks to turn the bag through once it's done. So, but I am going to sew with the back panel down and the gusset up, because I find that is the easiest way to do it. If you struggle to sew at the 1/2 inch, do you first sew round at 1/4 inch, because that's easier when you're sewing in a gusset, and then go round again at 1/2 inch, and you might find that a little bit easier. So now I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, but for the other side of the lining. So this time I don't need to leave a gap. So I'm just going to centre my top and my bottom. centre my sides, pin my sides, should I say, not centre my sides. And then I'm just going to ease in the rest of the fabric using lots and lots and lots of clips. I'm just making sure that I'm pushing everything else sort of out the way so that it doesn't get caught while I'm sewing. And I'm just going to sew all the way around this one, like I say, no gap this time. And we're still on 1/2 inch seam allowance. So what I'm going to do before I do the exterior is I am just going to trim round the seam allowance of the lining with my pick and shears. So I'm just taking off around about half. And I'm just making sure that I don't cut into my panel pieces or my gusset, that I'm literally only taking out the seam allowance. It's much easier to do at this stage than when you've completed the exterior and trying to do both. So I'm not going to cut back where I've left the opening. I'm going to leave that as it is. So, and then I'm just literally going to repeat the process for the exterior panels is what I've done for the interior. So I'm going to have it so it's right side out. I'm going to get my back panel first, and I haven't marked these ones yet, so I'm going to do that now. And this is kind of at the point where, you know, a lot of these seams are quite close to each other. You just really want to be taking your time to make sure that you're not patching, you know, any of the seams into each other. You know, you've spent all this time so far already making the bag, so you just, you know, just take a few extra moments and just make sure that you're getting it all right. So obviously I want my pocket to be this way, so this is going to be my top. So I need to mark my centres of my panel as well. And then just remember, when you're doing, you're not going to this panel, you're going to this panel, so you're going right sides together and clip. And then, like I say, just sort of push everything out of the way, clip it all together, and then I am just going to make very small snips, just sort of 2 or 3 mil deep. Just to make sure that that gusset fits into that lining. So you always want to snip into your gusset, not into your panel piece. And I'm just going to work my way around the other half. The snips I'm making, like I say, about 2 mil deep, and they're about centimetre maybe apart. And I am just really taking my time, making sure I'm getting it to meet up. And that's all met up beautifully. What I am going to do is I'm going to do a basting stitch at a quarter of an inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to go around at my normal stitch length at the ½ inch, because I want this to be absolutely perfect, and I don't want it to be shifting, and the quarter of an inch is easier to stitch than the ½ inch. It doesn't move as much. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do my seam allowance, trim my seam allowances with this one first, just before I do my second outer, just purely just to make things a little bit easier. With this being vinyl, if you want to run a second row of stitches just to reinforce, you can. And I'm just checking, I haven't got any but I am just going to run that second row of stitching round, just because I don't want any of those stitches pulling and showing. So I'm literally just running a row of stitches about 1/8 of an inch behind the row of stitches I've already done. So, and I'm happy I haven't caught any of my lining or anything like that. So now I am going to do my outer piece. So I'm just working out which is my top, which is this. So I'm going to mark my centres and my quarters. So this is my top, so I want that to be here. So I'm going to pin that and then pin the bottom, and then in exactly the same way as I did the last time, is I'm just going to snip in and I'm just going to ease the gusset into the panel. and that half fits perfectly. So I'm just going to do the same on this half. And we're really on the home straight now. We're nearly there. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same in that I'm going to do the 1/4 inch basting stitch, and then I'm going to do my 1/2 inch actual seam allowance, and then I'm going to do the second row of stitching behind. So I'm just cutting back this seam allowance like I did before with my pinking shears with it being circular. So I'm just making sure that I don't go through either of those stitching lines. My hole wasn't quite big enough, so I'm just making it a little tiny touch bigger. And then I'm just going to reinforce the end of that stitching line, because I don't want it ripping when I turn it through. So, moment of truth. So I've got my zippers open fully. This is quite a hard thing to do when you've got a knackered shoulder as well. I might be shouting at Grumpy to come and give me a hand. I had to get him to put my hair up in a ponytail today because I couldn't do it, and I was running late for a doctor's appointment, and yeah, I had to instruct him how to do it. He did alright actually. Man of many talents. We are getting there. We are getting there. So, except I have put my pocket on upside down. Oh no. Well, do you know what it is? We all make mistakes. So yeah, my pocket has gone on upside down. So even though I sat there and worked it out as to which way the pocket needed to go on, I still got it the wrong way around. But never mind, these things happen. So what I'm doing is I'm just working the seam between my fingers, working it round, and so that is the bag finished. So all we need to do is to take it apart and put the pocket on the right way. No, we need to close up the inside. So what I'll probably do is I will fold this down by the seam allowance, clip it, and I will just hand stitch this closed. Now I'm not particularly a fan of hand stitching, but when I don't turn handbags through the pockets, so therefore the turn will be seen in the bag, I will hand stitch them. So I will hand stitch that one, and so there is the finished bag with the upside down pocket. But it is a really good bag if you don't like binding. So, and obviously with it being turned through, obviously you can follow the pattern and do it with binding. If you've done other bags that are similar and know how to do binding, then it's easily adapted and can be done with binding too. So thanks for sewing with me. Thanks for putting up with my little blunder. What can I say? It's been a long week, and it's that in-betweeny time between Christmas and New Year, and nobody even knows what day it is or which way pockets go on. So I hope you forgive me. Like I say, thanks for watching. I know it's been quite a while since I put a video out, so I appreciate your patience. If you're new and this is the first time that you've watched a video of mine, I promise to get the pocket right next time. Please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, please leave a comment. It does help with helping my channel and my videos be seen with the algorithms and all of that sort of thing, and it is very, very much appreciated. So thank you for giving me your time, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.